Short answer, yes, but slow. Longer answer, there's a lot of things you can do to maximize your time off the mats and your time on the mats to make sure that you're feeding your brain and growing more than the average person that maybe shows up and just kind of goes through the motions. Taking a step back, I think if at all possible, kicking it up to 3 days a week is worth the effort, worth some jiggering of your schedule and trying to figure it out. It's a good number. 3 days a week is like constant, steady, good growth that you can see. 2 days a week is a little bit harder to see. 1 day a week is like you're kind of just maintaining what you already have. You may be taking in new information, but it's hard to add that into your game. But 2 days a week, there is growth. It's noticeable. Things to maximize it, Professor?
Setting your expectations or eliminating your expectations.
Realistic expectations?
Yeah,
Excellent, yeah.
If the choice is between no jujitsu and 1 day a month, come 1 day a month and get whatever jujitsu you can, and then just meter your expectations so that, okay, if I can come 1 day a month, I expect this amount of retention. If I can come 2 days a week, I expect to get better, and I expect my belt timeline to be a little longer. Or I expect to get better, but I also expect Susie or Timmy, who's coming in 5 days a week, to beat me up a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be easy to get frustrated coming twice a week because you'll see some of the same people that are coming a lot more often, and they'll be getting better a lot more quickly, and you'll be able to see that. And it'll be hard to see your progress. I don't know if we talked about this on a podcast yet, but kind of the downside of the rising tide raises all ships is you can't see it because you and everyone else around you is getting better, at whatever, roughly the same speed, but you're all getting better. So it's hard to see your markers against other people that are also getting better. And then compound that by most people are coming more often.
Yeah. Don't stop. That's the
key.
Thing. Don't stop.
Perhaps the most important piece.
Yes.
Don't stop.
You can always get better. And it's always worth coming to class, even if it's just a little.
Well, some little things that you can do not on the mats in a Jiu-Jitsu academy there's a ton of them. If you have a little mat space, or you can make a little mat space, you can drill at home. You can do solo drills. You can drill on a partner or a friend, right? You can drill all those moves that you go over in class. You can study techniques. You can pick out your game. Like the beauty of Jiu-Jitsu today is that the best Jiu-Jitsu in the world you can find out there, and someone will teach it to you. They'll put it on a little disc, or you can access it digitally, and you can learn that. So you can pick out your game and study it, and then as you come in and train, and come in and take class, you can always be working on that. You can develop your specialty on only 2 days a week. You can watch competition videos, see how they move, and try to model that in your training, right? You can expand your idea of what's possible for a human body to do in the world of Jiu-Jitsu. You can work on your visualizations. You can work on your mental game, right? Little challenges for yourself to make yourself mentally stronger, right? Books on sports psychology. Your own exercise, like in your house with no equipment, you can get in 20-30 minutes a good exercise will make your body stronger and make yourself put yourself in better cardiovascular shape. You can meditate.
And on your training days, right, it can be your class plus even 10 minutes before class of drilling whatever thing, if you did find something cool that you want to add to your game, take that 10 minutes before class and make it yours, right? Think about our training day not as, well, this block is where I get my jujutsu, period. But instead saying, okay, well, there's class, and there's a 10-minute opportunity before class, and there's a 10-minute opportunity after class, and there's a 20-minute strategy and bullshit session in the parking lot. Right? It's like that. In one day, I got 4 different training experiences, and it still is taking the same amount of time as your one class. So, changing the way you think about the training too can really help to make it seem like more.
You get way more out of it in the same, like you said, in the same time period. You're almost certainly going to be there at least 10, 15 minutes early and or be there at least 10, 15 minutes afterwards. If you maximize that time, you can get way, way more out of it. Yeah.
And no reason to ever stop. A trickle
Say hi, True.
will fill a bucket.
Say hi. This is our other sponsor, Churro, the Academy dog.
A trickle will fill a bucket. It takes longer, but it'll do it.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Even if they're nibbles.
Yeah.
The second question was from Chad, and it was about setting up like a weekly training framework. Oh, we have a magical Chad Adams. How to train without getting hurt. How to set up your training schedule. Training around injuries. And he asked about like yoga, strength training, jujitsu, foam roller specifically. Was there anything else?
And then outside cardio and other recreational activities, hiking, biking, enjoying the outdoors as well.
So many amazing hikes in the area.
Yeah. So that's a lot of stuff. Good for you, man. Got a full day. I think there's a lot to be said there.
There is. The first thing with I've seen a lot of people train jiu-jitsu, and I've seen a lot of people that were constantly getting injured. And there's definitely a theme that developed that is they're injuring themselves almost every time. They carry too much tension kind of in their lives in general, usually, not always. But then that translates to too much tension on the mats when they're rolling. And then besides that, the intensity level of the rolls is probably too high. Using too much strength. Like kind of taking a step back from it. Like wanting to win rolls is natural and good, but like making a conscious effort to just get rid of that at points can really help. Forcing yourself to slow down, forcing yourself maybe finding a partner that you can flow roll with, where you're just moving through positions and submissions, but never cranking it up past, say, third gear, whatever, 50%, however you want to think about that. You get a good exercise, you learn a lot about jiu-jitsu, but you really shouldn't get injured if you're flow rolling, right? But like learning how to roll with less intensity is counterintuitive and a huge learning tool. I mean, I mostly train at roughly half intensity the vast majority of my training. And it took me a long time to learn that lesson, for sure. The urge to win is strong. And Professor, before we got this going, was talking about, what was it? I just got lost. Now it's your turn.
Intensity?
Now you get to say something. I'll come back to it.
Yeah. So there's a old school, like the way back in the day methodology was wear yourself out before class so that you don't have any strength to use. So you have to use the technique.
That's right. I had forgotten that one.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I heard horror stories back in the day of like, all right, we got 45 minutes of warm up, 15 minutes of technique,
yeah,
and then we're gonna roll for now.
yeah.
Which kind of sounds awesome, but
Awfully awesome.
yeah. So yeah, kind of working on that dimmer switch is a term that you like to use a lot. I like that one. Working on that dimmer switch and kind of figuring out, okay, do I need to put this much effort, whether that is, muscular strength or a quick twitch, like I need to get to the place quickly, or, I mean, in my case, one of my kind of big setbacks, big holdbacks, was an early over-reliance on flexibility. And I think that can be true of any physical trait.
Tends to be, right? Big strong guys tend to use their size and their strength too much.
Right.
Little quick guys tend to use their speed too much.
Yes, and you don't need to. And so what happens is, you stack up your advantage, and then your partner helps you go past where you thought you wanted to go. Right. So I mean, I would replace guard a lot and use that extra flexibility. I can get my heel into this space, and then that's also the space that my face is occupying right now, and my partner is really going to assist me in bringing those together. But, so taking those advantages and asking if you really, really need them, right? If you're using your elbow to pry open their knee in the mount, right, and you've degraded their base, turn onto your side and give a good shrimp instead of bench pressing your partner off, right? So it's a super obvious example, but you don't need the strength to do the mount escape, so make the conscious choice not to use it, right? And it's going to be smaller and more subtle examples in different places, but recognizing that this doesn't require a push, I can just put my frame in place, or this doesn't require me to get to that place super quickly, right? I've got a good grip, and I can follow this to wherever.
In boxing, there's the phrase timing beats speed. But professor, what if you're technically throwing the person off of mount or side control?
I'd say the same thing. Do you really need to? Right? Did you need to put force into that, or did you need to put the force that you put into that? Because yes, there's a lot of points where we're going to engage muscle. We're going to put some force behind our technique, but it doesn't have to be all of your force every time.
Efficient Jujutsu is using the exact percentage of force that you need to have success with the move that you're trying to apply, and no more. And that is not necessarily obvious at first.
Right. Yeah.
Because everything is done with maximum strength because that move has to work because that's the only move you know, and whatever. You're getting your butt kicked, or you're tired, or
yeah. So learning to fight efficiently can really, really reduce those injuries.
It will.
Because you're not.
It will.
You're not overexerting your own force, I guess it would be. Yeah.
When I was, white through purple belt, really, my philosophy was maximum intensity, maximum will. I wanted it more than the other person most of the time. I was willing to endure more pain or whatever to win in the service of winning. And then around my late 20s, there was two or three years there where I was walking around and I constantly had multiple injuries, most of them little nagging ones. But after a couple of years of that, it was a painful realization that was not sustainable. And I had to figure out a different way to train. And luckily at purple belt, I had a lot of technical answers I could fall back on, right? But yeah, I had to let go of what I saw as one of my greatest strengths. At least, like most of the time. Like it's not. I don't rely on being mentally tough and wanting it more than other people on a day-to-day basis. And there's a good strategic reason for that too. If that's what you rely on, then that's all you got. If that doesn't work, you're not going to win. If you rely on technique, and that falls through, say in a fight, then you can rely on mental toughness, right? The other way around isn't going to work, right? If you're always relying on being tougher than them, then you're not going to have the technique to fall back on. So technique is key.
Yeah. That makes me think too, and I think kind of in two different ways, you kind of referenced having options. Having those options.
It was like a fresh white belt. Like you only know that one thing. Like of course you have to make it work. You got to hammer the square peg in the round hole.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I get it.
It really does. But also that means that the solutions kind of buttress into each other really nicely. Right? Drill slowly, an option that you haven't worked before. In drilling something slowly, you're less likely to get injured. And then in doing something you haven't done before, you build up an option for yourself so you don't have to be stubborn on any one thing.
Yeah. As you're working, say, that mount escape, if you pick up a pattern that every time multiple different people are doing Y thing to your X move, that Y has an answer, right? And if you bring that to an upper belt, they can give you a technical solution to it. Perhaps multiple. Really, all you need is one to start off with. But if you say, my mount escape doesn't work, what we're left with is going back over your mount escape or giving you another one, right? Which can work also. Mm-hmm. But, pattern recognition. If you dial down the intensity, you're much more likely to recognize the patterns of what's happening in training. So you can remember it afterwards, so you can write it down, so you can ask them about it, so you can drill that answer, so you have more answers the next time you end up there, rather than repeating the same things because you're lost in the fog of war.
Yeah, I noticed as my options grew, that fog was far less dense. Not so immediate. Okay, I can hang back. I can plan something out. I can be efficient. It took time. It took a lot of reps. It took being patient with myself.
Eventually, you want to get rid of stopping and taking a breath. But like at first, it can be super helpful. All right, take a deep breath. All right, where am I? I'm in the bottom of whatever. Side control. What do I know from here? Okay, I need to get my arms in. I need to make a frame, etc. Right? Eventually, you want to get rid of that stopping and taking your mind out of the fight. But as a learning tool at first, it can be super useful. Right? It can be super helpful.
Should we dig into possible ways to set up the week? So
Yeah.
we get all these things.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got some kind of loose ideas. So I'm thinking Jujutsu 3 days a week. Right? Jujutsu first, but so Jujutsu 3 days a week and yoga 3 days a week on alternating days. That's a nice hour block. And if you're alternating, you got like a high impact and nice low impact.
Break down your body and rebuild it back up. Yeah.
Foam rolling always, every day. General stretching, like mobility stuff every day.
Especially if your body's hurting, like, pain is a signal. So receive the signal, right? Don't just ignore it.
So my thought was cardio on the same days you do jujitsu. But that could be easily switched to the yoga days.
Ideally right before class, so you're too tired.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Lifting twice a week. So, for my kind of sample schedule here, I got jujitsu Monday, Wednesday, Friday, lifting Tuesday, Thursday, yoga Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, cardio on jujitsu days, foam rolling every day, hikes, outdoor recreation on the weekend, Sunday, chill, big rest.
Sounds like a killer schedule.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. If you haven't been doing all of those things, then you'd definitely have to ease into it. Listen to your body. And there's kind of two philosophies with Jiu-Jitsu about like the best way to get good at Jiu-Jitsu is all of the things is one of them. Do the lifting, do the cardio, do the hiking, do the yoga, and the other school of thought is do all of the Jiu-Jitsu. You can get your cardio in Jiu-Jitsu if it's done right. You can get your strength training, well, whatever, such as it is. And,
Sure.
But you do get more mat time, which does maximize your growth in Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
That one does sound like a lot of fun. It's a good schedule. Get some yoga, get some lifting, get some Jiu-Jitsu, get outside and hike.
Yeah. I mean, all of it, but the lifting sounds fun to me.
All of it, but the lifting and the hiking sounds fun to me.
Okay.
But whatever, people enjoy hiking, so they're welcome to go do that.
Sure.
If you ask me, you can go fuck yourself. I fucking hate hiking.
All right. Taking bold stances here.
I live in Colorado, and I will say publicly that I hate hiking. It's a shitty workout mixed with a shitty nature walk. You're too tired to enjoy the view, and you're not actually getting that good of a workout. So, get the fuck out of my face with that.
Do you have outside fitness activities? On a regular basis?
No. I love the outside. I like to spend time in it. If someone wanted to go for a nature walk, I'd be down with that. I like swimming. I like workouts. I used to do a fair amount of hill sprints. You and I have done some hill sprints before.
Sure.
At Tantra.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Tantra? Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
That hill in Boulder is a monster. My knee, however, doesn't agree with hill sprints anymore.
Yeah.
Right. I used to ride my bike regularly. I've kind of gotten out of the habit. Boulder had a ton of paths like everywhere. You can get on your bike and just tool around.
Yeah.
Westminster, not as much. Less so. Fishing, camping.
Yeah.
I like the outdoors. Don't ask me to go on a hike.
Right.
You want to go on a nature walk? Sure. Bring some food, maybe a bottle of wine, stop and check out the flora and fauna. Okay.
Okay. So it's got to be framed as a nature walk
Yes.
and appropriately inclined. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I kind of stopped doing outside exercise. Also.
Right now, it's not ideal because of all the dang smoke.
Yeah.
If I just leave the windows or the door open, it triggers my whatever.
Yeah.
My respiratory system does not like it.
Yeah. It smells not good.
Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad.
Sure.
Yeah. What did we finish with Chad's question? Weekly framework, injury, newbie. There's a like your body has to accustom to jiu-jitsu for sure. Like there's 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months maybe, where your body's just not used to all the weird rigors of jiu-jitsu. Having your body twisted and pulled at all angles. That said, like after that, if you're consistently getting injured, then that's a sign. The pain's a sign. Do we have anything else? I think we
Yeah, I mean, I think
covered that pretty well.
if you're consistently injured, you have to change the way you're training.
If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough, or maybe don't be dumb.
Right? And don't be tough.
Be tough, but save it
Yeah.
for when you need it.
Yeah, tough is a tool, not a personality characteristic.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to define you.
Put it back in the box.
Yeah. Okay. So we got
What
shit
else?
knocked out here.
Whoop! The magic note. Dun, dun, dun. Darren Morris, as a father, can I get better training 2 times a week? So we talked about the 2 times a week. We did not talk about the marriage, father, parenting, job, responsibility.
Yeah.
But kids are like perfect training dummies because they can't do anything. They're totally weak. You can beat the crap out of them, build yourself up. It feels great. So that's even better than before.
Yeah.
They get a little taller. They're like perfectly at elbow height. Just bring it down. Great force.
Yeah.
I'm sure your wife wouldn't mind.
Doesn't. What she doesn't see doesn't hurt her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we did talk about Darren's question, but as a father piece, I think is important. And I think so. Maybe this is just me rambling, but
Shoot, let's hear it. Ramble on.
I think the lessons we take from Jujutsu can make us better people. But also, the better people we are, the more we take from the lessons of Jujutsu. And so, being a complete person, being engaged in all of the pieces of your life and all the pieces of your community, and being all the way plugged in, means that you come to Jiu-Jitsu with a connected kind of mind state. So you just are better at it by virtue of being better within yourself. So as a father, as a husband, as a wife, as a business partner, as a whatever you are, as you are projecting your self, as you're projecting your best self out into the world, taking those jujitsu lessons is I don't know more about this.
So you think training jujitsu is beneficial for a father? For a
Yes.
parent?
I think it's beneficial in being a good person. And if you're a good person, then you have the ability to be a good father. If you're a good person, you have the ability to be a good whatever thing you are.
I think there's,
and you shouldn't take away that growth from yourself. Right?
in modern life, there's very few outlets for that animal side of us that wants to hunt and kill. And I think you can see the the negative effects of that in society and in people all over the place, where all their frustration, their rage, their anger, whatever comes out sideways because they have no other place to let it get out. So like the catharsis, the cathartic aspect of jiu-jitsu, I think could be really good for a parent because children can be frustrating, and it's important to set a good example.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to exercise regularly, and then when they're screaming or whatever, kids need to scream. Like they got to get it out too, you know. But doing exercises with your kid, going for walks, going for hikes. Hikes are amazing. The but the like the Gracies have Gracie games that they played with, that their parents really Helio, Carlos, Horian played with them when they were kids. And some of them you can do in the grocery store, like base battle, where you grab their hand and they turn sideways and they keep their feet wide. And you act like you're trying to kidnap them or whatever. But keeping it at a game, right? And you're working on your jiu-jitsu. You're teaching your child, like kinesthetically, you get to wrestle around. They get stronger, and they learn some self-defense. Like they learn some awareness. So a good way to weave in jiu-jitsu with parenting, perhaps.
Yeah. I think too, just showing the example of being self-disciplined, having something you're good at, and having something that you enjoy, right? Like your kids take all of your examples,
The good ones and the bad.
yeah, and even the ones that you don't think you're giving. So, I mean, if you are showing the example of I am having fun and talking to my friends and staying in shape, doing something active, right? Kids take that example. Oh, it's okay for me to talk to new people and have fun and be active, right? Even if they're not doing necessarily the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just if you're giving the example of being miserable, kids see it.
The only way to be a parent is to sacrifice everything. Don't exercise. Don't make time for yourself. Don't keep yourself up. Don't eat healthy.
Right. Yeah.
Drink the whiskey to overcome the stress.
Sounds great.
Right?
Yeah. So man, I think we got such good parenting advice. We should go get some kids.
Where should we get these kids, Professor?
I heard you can order them with furniture on the internet.
They come with furniture?
Yeah, like they ship the kids in the furniture.
Ooh. Like crates.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
All right, so both of our questions are about training methodology, essentially. How much or what kind of training is going to be best for me, right? So,
The endless question.
yeah, what kind of training is best?
All of the training is the best.
Oh.
Way better than none of the training. I actually drill more than I train at this point. I think probably most people would have to build up their tolerance to it. But I get sweaty. I get better at jiu-jitsu that I wasn't good at before. I do not get injured, knock wood. And then I have more pieces to add when I do train. So there's constantly new information flowing into my brain, flowing into my body.
Yeah.
When I really get going, I'm probably drilling 4 or 5 hours a week, sometimes more. And I'm training, depends, but 3 hours a week, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I think Right now I'm a little goofy because still.
Right now,
Yeah.
you're a little goofy.
Yeah.
I'd say usually you're pretty dang goofy.
Well, that's true. So right now my training schedule is a little goofy.
Roger that.
Because still rehabbing the knee, but I think I do. Probably only for like 2 hours a week. I gotta set up more. But train. I'll roll like 2 rounds a day. And then a little bit of cardio.
What have you done to learn how to train to minimize injuries? Are there any lessons in your experience?
So one of the biggest lessons, and it's a tough one, is learning to pick my training partners and my training situations.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And for the longest time, I never say no if somebody wanted to train.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I gotta do it. And I'm gonna roll this round, and I'm gonna go as hard as I need to go, and I'm gonna, and would get myself in situations that like were not great. I would get dinged up and feel bad for days. I started being way more selective with my training partners. And so, like the
part of that, maybe not for you, but part of that is like learning how to speak up for yourself, or learning how to look out for yourself. I don't know if there's a better term for it, but like everyone, you say it and everyone understands the concept, and then in practice, like they feel like they're gonna hurt someone's feelings, or they don't want to advocate for themselves. Like that's the term I was looking for. Like really, they probably don't care. Like whatever, it's not a big deal. And if they do, then maybe there's a lesson there that they need to be a better training partner. People are choosing not to roll with them repeatedly.
Yeah.
What's the common denominator here?
Right. And it's just, it can be uncomfortable, certainly, but it's a marathon, right? Like there's going to be another training day. There's going to be another training session for both you and that partner that for whatever reason you're not comfortable rolling with today, right? And that's the other thing, right? Is like, okay, I don't want to train with you today. Doesn't mean we're not going to train forever, right? Like today, I'm going to pick a different training partner. You're kind of, ostracizing that person forever.
It's not a judgment on them as a person, necessarily.
Right? It's a judgment on your knees that day, or your back tweak, or your ability to move an adult man. Right? Like,
throw him off of the mount.
Right. Some days can't move an adult male. Sometimes gotta beat up old ladies. That's what I do.
Also, elbows.
Yeah.
Bow like that.
Yeah.
Short ones. They're like hunched over. Perfect elbow height.
Yeah. Yeah. I also noticed, like, without their glasses, old ladies can't dodge a jab for nothing.
Right? And the reaction time's so slow.
Knock that wig right off.
All right. Are we going to get into shit talk, or are we near 45 minutes? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. What do you want to do for 5 minutes, Professor?
So we talked about training. We talked about parenthood, for which we are drastically qualified.
Infinitely.
Yeah.
We have seen parents all over the place.
Right. Might have even seen a kid once.
Yeah, we've seen kids all over the place. People are breeding all the time.
So is it? We got 5 minutes. Final thoughts on training methodology. Oh, all right. The most intense training session you've ever done. Have you ever thrown up?
I have not. I threw up in high school, but I don't think I've thrown up from training since then. I've blacked out, but not passed out, but like lost vision while still conscious in training. That's a good one. What else? I wished I could puke or pass out.
Sure. Just make it stop.
Yeah.
I remember doing run to the middle of the mat, do your takedown. I think it was takedown to pass. Run back, jump as high as you can off the wall, and sprint back and do it again. And so it was sprinting and takedowns, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And jumping.
And I managed to hold it together until they called time. But then as soon as coach called time, it was like out the back door and just turning the alley a different color.
Spray it down.
Yeah, it was rough. But yeah, I don't even know if I did well in that tournament, like on the back end of that. But yeah, sometimes get a good hard training session in there and really make yourself feel bad.
I remember training in Brazil in the summer, and like, I guess they had a water fountain there, so I guess I didn't bring a water bottle, or maybe I drank it already. But the water fountain, like the water came out so little. There was so little of it that I would just like stick my mouth onto the metal and push the button and like try to suck the water out faster because it was so hot and so thirsty. And I didn't care. I did not care.
Yeah, it's survival at that point.
I needed the essence from the water fountain. I needed it in my body as fast as possible, and that was what mattered.
Yeah. Good times.
The
train till you can't.
Intense training.
Yeah.
The best inspiration for escaping like the bottom mount or like the back, if you're like faces on the mat, the best inspiration ever, Tumblepubes.
Oh no.
Yes. You will move your body. It doesn't
So
matter how
fast.
tired you are.
So fast.
When you see that Tumblepube coming at your face,
Mm-hmm.
you find it deep down inside.
Oh, don't let it be inside.
You find the will to not let it get any closer to your face.
Right? You find your breathing control very quickly so as not to suddenly inhale. Yeah.
I learned that one in Brazil as well. Hopefully, no one has that experience at Dark Horse. Ever. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, it's
a real thing.
Yeah, we're going to avoid that one. All right. So, Professor, that brings us about to our run time. Any final thoughts, any shout outs you'd like to send out before we call it a day?
Shout outs. Ooh, I should start challenging people. We'll do that next time. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening. The questions are good. There are perspectives that we don't have and we won't necessarily think about. So, like, leaving a comment, leaving a question, something you're interested in is always super helpful. So please keep it up. Thanks.
Yeah, the response has been great, and we love interacting with you guys. So definitely check us out. Leave your comments. Give us more to feed on here, and we will keep giving you more and more content. And then the big thing, show up to class. Right? Even if it's
Keep training.
Keep training. Even if it's 1 day a week. Even if it's 1 day every 2 weeks. Whatever. Just keep training.
Keep showing up.
That's it. All right.
Thanks for coming out. Have a great day. Stay safe.